Welcome to the MWA podcast. I'm Kyle and I'm here with my co-host Sean. Today we're excited to have Austin Waldo as our guest to talk about the upcoming Texas Woodworking Festival. Austin is a longtime friend of the show and founder and event producer of the Texas Woodworking Festival. So welcome back to the show, Austin.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited.
It's great. It seems like the show was just yesterday. And here we are.
Definitely seems that way to me.
Here it was a half a year ago, and
Yeah.
just like yesterday. And guess what? The next one's about a half a year away. Oh boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're already looking at dates for 2026. So it
Yeah.
goes pretty quick.
Yeah.
Well, fantastic. Yeah. I remember, who was I talking with? I think I was talking with a couple of the exhibitors last time, but I know one of them was Bad Axe Saws, and I was going, "Hey, did y'all have a good time here?" This was like on Sunday, the last day, and they were like, "Oh yeah, in fact, we've already reserved our booth for next year."
Yeah. You reserved quite a few of the booths at the show and filled up the space, so we even added more room for more booths this year.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah. No, that's got to be good for the show.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll get into that maybe a little later, but that's like my girl who used to cut my hair used to schedule me before I left for the next visit. It's just like ensuring business going forward. It's a good growth program.
I'm not really sure I understand any metaphors for resembling something that you might do at a hair salon, but
Well,
I haven't been at one of those for a very long time. So
yeah. Oh my God, am I the only not clean shaven head?
Before we talk more with Austin, let's dip our toes into the woodworking news. So first up, Woodpeckers has a new joinery sled out that can be used on the table saw or router table. It kind of reminds me of the old school tenoning. I guess it was a tenoning jig that you put on your table saw to cut tenons on.
Mm-hmm.
But this one, instead of everything dialed in at 90, and it can be dialed in at 90, it can also rotate or sort of lean at an angle and stuff like that. So you can do some, neat joinery type operations with it. And it seems to be rather robust. It's got a lot of different features to make sure it is secure. And it's $299. It's $300, which, for something like this is not too bad, I would say.
No, there's a lot of moving parts, a lot of bolts and aluminum.
Yes. A lot of adjustability.
A ton of adjustability, and I dare say, I mean, are there bandsaw possibilities for this too? I mean, you have a track in your bandsaw that, as long as it's true, you could be doing similar short ribbing operations or angled holding. I don't know. I mean, whatever. But it's a nice, kind of like 5 pounds of crap or 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound box kind of thing. It's a lot going on. Not in a bad way, really. I mean, it is because of so much adjustability and holding ability. They really packed a ton into this. Is this competitively priced against other tenoning jigs?
Most of those tenoning jigs for a table saw are right around that price.
That's what I thought.
I think you can get some knockoffs a little bit cheaper. Chinese made knockoffs, but for something like this that enables you to do angled cuts and stuff like that too, if that's if you don't have a tenoning sled and you're looking for something like that, you might want to check this out. So
what's really nice is it actually comes with its own wall mount, which I think after seeing that, every jig should come with a way to
to mount it,
to store it. I mean, I really do. Yeah. We have an old school it must be cast iron jig that's kind of that base model, and it's super heavy, and it doesn't have any proper way that it can sit flat unless it's on your table saw being used.
Yeah, it's
just so awkward in its size that it doesn't really store well anywhere. So I think that wall mount is a great idea.
Yeah.
No, not to dig on my dad, but he's got a PM66 table saw, and with the extension arm, table on it, there's a lot of space underneath, and that's like a catch-all for jigs. Just like a bunch of stuff just kind of tossed down there. Yes. Nothing this robust. I don't think he's got a tenoning jig, but it's that's where this would go if it wasn't hanging on a wall. It'd be tucked in an available flat spot.
I did the same.
It's got some girth.
I did the same thing when I had my previous outfeed table at its shelf and underneath of it, and it was just like full of cross-cut sleds and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So
well,
definitely.
Maybe Woodpecker will hear this and we can get them to come to the Texas Woodworking Festival.
There
I'd
you
love
go.
to see it in person.
Heck yeah.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great.
Heck yeah.
Let's see. Next up, Lost Art Press has a new edition of Roubo on Furniture with a special price. So I think there's an introductory offer right now through April 20th, and that's $100 for this book with free domestic shipping. And this is a book that they've made twice, I think, already. They made a huge volume of this book, and it was like, what was it? It was a huge book. It was basically a reproduction of the original Roubo book. So it was like, I don't know, 16 inches tall, something like that. It was a pretty big book, very well done. And I think it was about $500. And then they had a smaller book that was the same thing, that was, like your typical book, and it was a little bit cheaper. And this is kind of like combining those, at least in my mind. It's nicer than what they were selling. It's acid-free paper, enlarged. They enlarged the page size, so it's a little bit bigger than the other one. And like all Lost Art Press books, very, very well done. So if you're into Roubo and you don't have his book, this is a good time to get it. So
this has plates of I guess chair joinery and
on the workbenches and all that stuff, I would imagine. Yeah, this is his furniture book. I think there's another volume that he did that Lost Art Press still sells or used to sell on like marquetry.
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of. I know there was a separate one.
Yeah, and I think there's even one on like, doing, construction, like doors and, stuff like that.
Okay, so this, I just saw this. So it's a 9x12 book, which is bigger, not quite a coffee table book, but bigger than the standard book. But I think the detail in some of those drawings and well, I guess plate transfers, but are you need some size because of the grand detail that's But
and I think when they
market.
And I think when they first did this, there were a couple of folks that helped translate the original Roubo because it had never been published in English, and I think it took them like four years or so to do all that. So
and that's I'm just reading further. The original edition was 11x17, so a full like long legal pad version.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, and that's the one I think I remember. And then they did the second version was 8.5x12, so they're tweaking sizing each time. To make it work. But not bad for $100. I mean, it is a volume of information. Like you said, if you're into Roubo, if you're into that kind of what is French 17th century, writings on joinery and such, not a bad pickup for sure.
Yep, exactly.
I'm sure, Kyle, it's on order. You're gonna add to your collection.
Maybe. I think I have the original small one, but I'm looking at it.
All right.
And then next up, we have Austin here, and he helps run the Austin School of Furniture. And there are a lot of schools out there. And one of them is our friends over at Haystack Mountain School of Crafts. Now, they're located up in the Northeast, but they reached out to me last week and wanted to have a little blurb here about they currently have some open spaces in select summer workshops. The spaces in these workshops are limited, and applications are processed on a rolling first come, first served basis. So if you want to see some of the workshop info and some of the openings they have, visit haystack-mtn.org, and I'll put a link in the show notes. And if you're in the greater Texas area, make sure you look at the Austin School of Furniture. So we got some for the Northeast, we got something for Texas, and y'all on the West Coast, y'all need to travel to Texas. So
come on over the mountain.
Well, I will say, in terms of location, they have us beat. I don't know if you've actually seen pictures of this. We've got a railroad track and a metal building and a couple homeless people. And they've got trees and water and beautiful sky, so they've got us beat there.
I think they're a little bit like Anderson Ranch with a bunch of different types of stuff. It's more than just woodworking. There's all kinds of crafts and stuff that they teach classes and have internships and whatnot in. So yeah, it's pretty cool setup. But I've been to your place, Austin. It's nice. It's very, very nice. I mean, your machine room is outrageous as far as what you have. How many dust collectors do you have in there?
4 or 5, probably.
4 or 5? Yes. Industrial sized dust collectors. Yeah. It's pretty interesting stuff, and a lot of room. And then the joinery room's also fantastic. But with that, before we get into talking about the Texas Woodworking Festival, let's give our patrons a shout out. So who do we have to thank this week?
Yeah, we'd like to give a big shout out to our Patreon supporters. And we're going to give that big old shout out to our friend Jose Santiago. Jose, thank you for supporting us on the show. And if you, listener, would like to join Jose in his support, you can go to patreon.com/MWA podcast and help us out there.
Yes, thank you so much, Jose. Well, Sean, let's head on to what's in the shop. So what are you working on?
Not much. We're recording these so close together. I got crap going on, but my wife made a lovely cheesesteak casserole tonight.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, with turkey. It's healthier.
Oh, okay.
but very good with some
so it's
sourdough
a turkey
bread.
steak casserole.
Yeah, it's turkey. Yeah, I guess it's turkey. It's a cheese turkey. Yeah, it doesn't work the same.
Nah.
It's not a cheese steak. It's a cheese ground turkey.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about you, Kyle? What are you working
on? Just fulfilling orders and stuff like that. Not much going on, but keeping busy. Okay, I do have a recommendation, and that is the Big Dog adhesives. Yes. In fact, I was thinking about that today when I was using some. I hadn't really mentioned it, but I actually bought some when I was at the last year's Texas Woodworking Festival. And it's a PVA that they have that's actually clear. So it's when it comes out, it's white, but it dries clear. Has a initial tack, but it's not as thick as like that tight bond, thick and quick tack type stuff. Okay. But I've really been using it on a bunch of stuff I've been gluing up that, I normally use hide glue, but sometimes I can leave a dark line on some stuff, and I wasn't pleased with that. So I started using this stuff, and works like a charm. So highly.
Are you talking about Boss Dog?
Yeah.
Okay. Boss Dog.
Yep. Boss Dog. Yeah. Sorry. Did I say?
You said Big Dog.
I said Big Dog. Oh, I mean Boss Dog. Sorry.
You know what? I looked up Big Dog adhesives, and they also do a lot of glues. They're like a CA and nautical. So not current shout out to Big Dog. We're going Boss Dog.
Boss Dog. I will put a link, of course, in the show notes with the correct one. But it's a great company, and this glue that dries clear. If you have an application for it, I highly recommend it. I don't think there's anything quite like that on the market at the current time. So check that out.
It's at bossdogglue.com.
Yep. So, Austin, so what are you working on in your shop?
Yeah, I mean,
if I don't know from what we talked about before we start recording.
Well, yeah, there's obviously the woodworking education with Austin School Furniture and the Texas Woodworking Festival. But other than that, then I do make custom furniture. So I've got a few commissions in the pipeline. The one that I'm working on mostly at the moment is a mid-century modern liquor cabinet that has kind of sliding bypass doors and LEDs on the inside, and it's big, so it should fit over 100 liquor bottles inside this cabinet.
Wow, that's big.
It's a floor standing cabinet.
Yeah. Have LEDs taken mid-century modern, really modern? I mean, I know lighting was included in some of the 60s cabinets, but this is like next level, because now we've got like RGB color changing. You can have some fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And these are the ones we have in this particular cabinet are the most simple, but you can really go crazy from some of the stuff that Hayful sells to this particular company is a new one I'm trying. It's called Inspired LED.
Okay.
So these are the tunable white, so you can change the color temperature, but even those can connect to your phone through an app. And can be
yeah, that's cool.
But these will turn on when the doors open through a kind of a hidden motion sensor.
That's pretty cool. Because again, that kind of control nowadays is much simpler with motion control, those kind of things. Not necessarily a mechanical switch that turns those things on. You can do it much simpler, much smaller, and much lower power. You're not going to heat the room
right
with what you're doing, or heat the box.
Right. The whole system they're typically 12 volt or 24 volt low voltage. So it's much easier.
Pretty cool.
Pretty cool. And also, I think, what was it, back in December when Wilbur and I came for that tour, we were working on that chair, and that came out just wonderfully.
Yeah. I did a bent lamination lounge chair that was it took me, give or take, working on and off on it for about a year or so, and finished it up not too long ago and got some photos of that, and then I'm gonna put it in a show probably at the end of this year.
Oh, okay.
Cool. At the Texas Makers show, or whatever it's called. No, a different show. Okay.
I might be addicted to starting things.
Uh-oh.
There is Austin doesn't have its own furniture show, and so we've been brainstorming on a unique idea for a high design furniture invitational. So we're working on a really cool idea, working with the ADA chapter in Austin, and then Austin Design, and then Austin Home Magazine, to do kind of a whole much more modern version of a furniture show.
Okay. It's going to be a juried show?
Nope. So it doesn't cost the furniture maker anything. There is no prize money. It is simply showcasing work, and that work can be for sale. But the difference is getting 200 to 300 potential buyers in the room over one night by essentially having a big party.
Yeah, exactly. Fantastic.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Well, you're always doing something. That's interesting. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, speaking of passions for starting something and they blossoming, let's talk about the Texas Woodworking Festival that's coming up. It seems like just yesterday I was there, but it's been a few months, and I guess tickets are about to go on sale, right?
Yeah. The event's not till September, so we got lots of time there, but tickets will be going on sale, or let me say educational tickets will be going on sale April 1st. So there's lots and lots of new things this year, especially from a technology standpoint, where a lot of it will be behind the scenes that folks won't see, but they're going to be able to reap the benefits of a brand new registration system. So when tickets go on sale April 1st, you can buy the educational package, which is what we've done in the past, where you can get access to all, I think it would be give or take about 20 sessions. And then it includes, raffle tickets and drink tokens and access to the exhibition floor. And then we'll kind of fine tune that schedule. And then the general admission tickets will go on sale June 1st.
Okay.
And kind of how we've structured that is listening to the attendees that have wanted to be able to take maybe only 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 classes as opposed to 20. And we really just haven't been able to facilitate that and check people into all of the classes and handle all of the different ticket levels and purchases and everything. So we now have a all new registration system where you can buy all of the classes, or you can get a general admission ticket, and then you can individually add on sessions to your general admission, so that you could just go to the exhibition floor and take 1 class or 4 or 5, and there's discounts the more that you sign up for. But it should allow for people to really customize their experience from an educational standpoint at the Texas Woodworking Festival this year.
Oh, that's fantastic. So when you're saying, this podcast will drop April 1st. So as you're listening to this, if you listen to it on the first day it drops, and tickets are on sale for the educational stuff. So is it the tickets are on sale today? Would that be the full educational package, or would it be like you're talking about, you can also just buy 2 or 3 courses?
Just the full education package.
Okay.
So then the downside that we haven't quite figured out is, well, when you sell, because there's a limited capacity of the number of people you can fit into those rooms, even though a couple hundred, well, if 200 people buy a GA ticket and 200 people all sign up for one class, then that would sell out that class. And then the educational package that includes that couldn't technically go to that.
Okay, makes sense.
So we want to try to sell as many educational tickets as we can, and then what's left over will be that a la carte pick what you want, add on to your GA ticket.
Okay. Oh. And then are y'all still going to be recording the educational session? So if you for if you're in North Dakota and have plans and can't make it down in September, then you could actually go to your website and buy that particular presentation, demo, lecture, whatever it may be. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, and that's another benefit to the education ticket is the recordings are included as part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Not included for the GA tickets on the add-ons, but you can go to the video website we have, which is Texas Woodworking Festival.video, and you can purchase those separately.
Okay, yeah, and you have those up for last year, and there were some fantastic presentations there. Absolutely great, and they're a reasonable price too if you want to pick one of those up. So I will put a link to that also in the show notes so people can go there and see what was happening last year. So
yeah, and we really try to listen to what people will say, and another kind of direction that we've been hearing people asking us to go has been on the content creation side, the YouTube side, social media, and all of that. So this year, we're actually adding a whole half day of content on Friday. So you can essentially sign up for a whole nother add-on education track to either a GA ticket or an education ticket to take 4 classes and an AMA with some of the more well-known woodworking YouTubers.
Oh.
So learning from them, some really good information on social media and YouTube and running a business, and really get a good opportunity to network with other kind of aspiring influencers and content creators and kind of get your own special day just for content creation.
Wow.
That's great. So that's going to be the Friday before the actual festival starts. So that's kind of like
So that will be another thing that you can essentially add on to your ticket level. So the registration system, when that goes live, I guess is live now, will let you pick your base ticket. So the general admission or the EDU, at least to start, that's just the EDU. And then you can add on that content creation aspect. And then really excited that we're doing a big official after party on Saturday. So then you can add that, which I think everybody should definitely add that on and come hang out with us. We're renting out entire brewery, so I think it means we're required to drink all the beer they have.
I believe so.
We're going to need everybody there for sure.
That's right. Yeah, I did see Jonathan Cat Moses. I think yesterday, as we're recording this, he had a little thing on his site talking about the after party, and I guess he's going to be the platinum sponsor of the show.
Yep. So he's the platinum sponsor of the Texas Woodworking Festival, and then he's also sponsoring that after party. So he's working on trying to come up with a very creative name. So the working title is just the Cats Moses Tools After Party, the official after party of Texas Woodworking Festival. But he's got some clever ideas. So whatever he ends up coming with, as long as it's appropriate, then that'll be the official name. But it's just another way that it'll really help to get the word out about the after party, but then also the Texas Woodworking Festival as well. So you'll be able to come and hang out with all the influencers that are in town that are hopefully coming to the party as well.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, fantastic. Well, what else is different this year?
All of that registration kind of trickles down into, how things will be run and the badges and your experience with exhibitors and all of that, adding on individual classes. And then, of course, as always, lots of new exhibitors, new sponsors, new classes and presenters, new activities at the show, all kinds of fun stuff.
So Austin, tell me who are going to be the presenters for the educational track.
Yeah, we're pulling from all the corners of the United States this year. So we've got some local folks as well from Texas, Gary Weeks and Andy Rawls are doing some presentations. But then all the way in the Great White North, Patrick Moore is coming down from Canada to do a presentation. And then Gary Rogowski will be here, Matt Kinney, Kate Casey, Alexis Delis, and John Bowman, who are both from Montana, are doing some presentations. So there's going to be topics that are ranging, from joinery to design and business, a little bit everything, and even some weaving with David Johnson from out of Los Angeles.
Oh, fantastic. And what about any of the exhibitors there as far as in the exhibition space? Are you still, I know you're still working on that, but do you have any to highlight? I assume Jonathan Cat Moses is going to have like 40 booths lined up next to next.
Four this year. Yeah.
Okay. 4 this year. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we've already got a lot of exhibitors. I don't know if I should spend the next 10 minutes listing them off, but
check the website.
Check the website. Yeah.
Check the website for who's on there. But, a lot of the usual folks that have been coming and supporting us from over the years, and then new companies. Forged 3D is one of the new companies that's bringing some cool stuff. Then let's see, trying to think. Whitworks. So Drew Witt will have his own booth. We'll be showing off some things. Then Ramon Valdez will be here showing off a few things. And then, of course, the usual suspects for CNCs and tools and sanders. And you mentioned Bostock Glue. They'll be there. Lots of wood from Bertall. Glue and finish and power tools. Rex will be here this year. So yeah, we're still talking to lots of exhibitors, and we're looking for more exhibitors. And we've got a couple really big ones that I don't want to say yet, just because it may not happen. But if it does, it'll be pretty cool.
All righty. So stay tuned to your Instagram.
For sure. Yeah, we'll be posting a lot about who's coming as the time goes on.
Okay. Now, I think when we were talking before we started recording, I think you mentioned that you're going to have more exhibitors than last year. So even more. Is it going to be a bigger space, or?
Well, we've moved things around, so we have the ability to have more.
Okay.
We're, as always, still looking for more exhibitors, and are talking to lots and lots of different companies right now. So we're not full yet. We still have plenty of time and plenty of room. But we at least have the ability to have more exhibitors. But what we end up having, we won't know that for several months.
Okay. And so let's go over the I think we mentioned that it's going to be in September. So what's the actual dates, time, location, so forth?
Yeah, that content creator track will be in the afternoon of September 12th, so that Friday. Okay. And then the main show, exhibition, and woodworking educational content will start September 13th and 14th.
Okay.
All right.
And it's going to be in the Palmer Event Center again in Austin, Texas.
That's correct. Palmer Event Center. And then the after party, of course, will be that Saturday evening, probably around 6 o'clock right after the show.
Okay.
Very cool.
And, and one of the great things about the Palmer Event Center is right across the street is is a pretty decent barbecue joint. Might have heard of it. Terry Black's. Anyway, so
I
just get there early. Just get there early.
Well, yeah. I heard that. Yeah, timing is everything. When I was there, I was in Austin last month. Actually, really early February. 2 months ago. And I reached out to Kyle when I was there. I said, okay, we might have some time. Barbecue in Austin. Gotta know. And he listed a few, and Terry Black's was already mentioned. But then Kyle also mentioned that it's like, hey, it's right there by the convention center where the show is. I'm like, oh, cool. So I got to see where I'm semi-familiar with the blocks around that area. The barbecue is good. First time in my life I've tasted a beef.
Hey, there you go.
Yeah. Hey.
I mean, really, once you've had one, you're probably going to be full for.
I didn't eat the whole thing. I had a taste of another one, that someone else was eating. So like I had some brisket and a bite of. It was very good, but yeah, busy. Very too small of a parking lot for that place.
Yeah, I mean, go to the Texas Woodworking Festival, park in the Palmer.
Yeah, and walk across the street.
Walk over. Yeah.
Yep. Good drinks, good food, for sure.
Exactly. And anything else going on? I assume you're still working out the logistics of food and
for sure. Yeah. Well, and one new thing that will be kind of a double shout out is we are going to be having classes at the Austin School of Furniture while this is happening. So previously doing all those things, I really wouldn't do classes for almost the entire month of the Texas Woodworking Festival. So with the new board that we have and the school being a nonprofit and getting a lot more community support, we are running a class with Matt Kinney that is going to essentially be that Monday to Friday. And then with Alexis Delos on Monday to Friday following the show as well. So those groups of individuals could take that class, stay in the town for the weekend, go to the festival, or on the other side, come in town for the festival and then take that class.
Or take both classes.
Or take both classes and go to the festival. There you go.
Make it a 2-week event with a party in the middle.
Why not? Why not?
Pretty cool.
That is nice. That is nice. So tell us about some of the sponsors you have lined up so far.
Yeah. So Cat's Moses Tools is our platinum sponsor. And then we're still talking to a lot of sponsors about some of the other levels. But then we have AIM, which is the media group that has Fine Woodworking, Popular Woodworking, and those groups. And then Drew Witt is sponsoring as well. His company is Whitworks and has a whole bunch of great accessories, some of those 3D printed. And then he is also one of those presenters that's going to be giving a talk on Friday. Yeah.
He has a nice channel. I partake of his channel all the time. So yeah. And good personality. He's somewhere in the Dallas, Fort Worth area, something like that. Yeah.
Not too far away.
Not too far away at all. Well, anything else we haven't talked about Texas Woodworking Festival besides, hey, get your tickets early, April 1st. As you're hearing this, you can go out there and, sign up and get on.
Yeah. I mean, we're bringing in instructors from all the way up from Montana, coming down to Texas and East Coast and West Coast, covering topics, from hand tools to design, business, joinery, a lot of really, really interesting topics. And even some timber framing, some Patrick Moore all the way from Canada is coming down to teach kind of his stereotomy and roof framing techniques, which I think is going to be really cool to show to a bunch of furniture makers to kind of blow their minds how complex some of this carpentry can actually be.
You had him at the school, was it January or so?
It wasn't even that far back. A few weeks ago.
Okay. Yeah. How cool was that? I mean,
very cool. Yeah. I mean, we've had him, I think 3 or 4 times, and I learned something every single time he's down here, and really, really cool stuff to learn that style of design and drafting without really having to do any math.
Yeah. But giving you an understanding of structure and space. When we talked to him, it was just so cool to kind of think that way.
And he's
taking a class.
And he's a really nice guy, which always makes it better.
Yeah. He is a really nice guy, and I can't wait to meet him in person too. So he's fabulous. Well, let me ask you about what's going on at the Austin School of Furniture.
Yeah, lots of classes going on, and we've really broadened what we're teaching now that we've officially become a nonprofit. So we've added a whole kind of section of classes that in a way are almost woodworking classes for non-woodworkers, where we're really focused on the community aspect. We let individuals pick how much they want to pay for the class. The materials are donated, the instructor is donating their time, and they might make something very simple like a birdhouse to a planter box. It might just be a few hours involving a very limited amount of tools. And then, of course, kind of our normal evenings and weekends introductory classes, and still, of course, bringing in those high-level furniture makers from around the United States, teaching those daytime, week-long classes and much longer, intensive workshops.
Anything coming up you'd like to highlight?
Well, Andrew Hunter just got into town today as of recording this. So a little too late to sign for that class, but that one's going to be really good. And I think the next big one is with Phil Morley, who no longer lives here. So he's traveling in as a guest instructor, but there's still a couple spots left in his stool class. And then if does
that mean he sleeps on your couch?
Actually, well, he does stay at my house. Yeah. Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you could stay at a hotel, but we've known each other for so long and worked together. It's like, you might as well just stay here. But for any of the intermediate woodworkers, then Laura Kishimoto is teaching a bent lamination workshop.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah.
So that's going to be a good one. And then there's Larissa Huff and Meredith Hart are teaching as well. We even have a dulcimer class with Beth Ireland that's coming up after the festival.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, that's
all right. Well, listeners, you heard what's coming up. So, get out there and, get on it, because a couple of those sounded interesting. I need to check that schedule. Anyway, so Austin, so what else have you been doing, woodworking and otherwise? You mentioned you had a bunch of commissions and stuff like that, and you always seem to be busy on this. Do you have any downtime to do anything else?
That's what I'm doing, is I'm drinking beer and talking to my woodworking friends right now.
There you go.
Yeah, this is my downtime, and then I'll be asleep, and then I'll wake up, and then go back to work. And yeah, there's always something going on. Staying busy, but yeah, a lot of commissions lately. Gearing up for the summer. I've been doing a lot more of cabinetry lately. I've been kind of trying to design my own style of kind of modern cabinets. I typically don't find cabinetry that interesting, but then I've, through learning Fusion 360, have found a way that I do enjoy designing cabinets, and they can outsource most of the cutting. And so I'm getting all that enjoyment out of kind of designing the cabinets and the setup, and then just assembling and installing it. And so I've kind of been doing a few cabinet jobs here and there. That's been a lot more fun.
Well, cool. Yeah, that's something I haven't tackled, is doing that kind of stuff. It's just like someday. Anyway, we'll see.
Well, more labor intensive when you have
yes.
to throw around a bunch of cabinets and be on your knees and on a site, as opposed to a nice air conditioned wood shop.
Yeah, and dealing with nothing square and all that fun stuff. Yeah,
very true. Yeah,
that's right. I think Sean's done more of that than I have.
Probably
making things unsquare or dealing with things that were
dealing with unsquareness.
Okay.
Probably making unsquare stuff too.
Oh, that's distinctly possible. Everything's a little out of whack. Once I get at the end, like I put together that stool that I got for Christmas. I didn't really check it after gluing it up. I'm like, it's close, but I put it on the floor and it didn't rock any much. But once I got the seat bound on it, there's a little wiggle to it. And I don't care. I'm gonna sit on it and make it flatten itself out.
Well, there's an easy way to do that. You just need to put a plane upside down in your vise on your bench, and
I know mark and score. Yeah, and it's not that severe, and so it lives up in the living room now. Right now, it's like a couple blankets are laying on it. When the weather warms up, we'll put the blankets away, and it'll become a seat.
There you go,
as it's supposed to be.
Or you can just make sure it's always on carpet, so it'll level.
Yeah, that's that too. That too. So it just accepts it, because it is minor. It's not like it's, oh my god, this thing is a tap dancing when you sit on it. It is a skosh of a difference.
Yeah. See, I got one of these tile floors that has that wood look to it, and it's kind of ripply, it's got that hewed look to it, and so nothing can sit flat on those floors.
Yeah, no, ours. I mean, I'm like old, like 1950s hardwood, but it's pretty flat. It's pretty flat.
Well, cool. Well, let's move on to our fortnightly beer choices. So I'll start us off, and a new beer that I had not had before. It's Irish beer. It's Sullivan's Brewing Company out of Kilkenny, Ireland. And I've actually been there before. Great seaside town. And the beer is called Irish Gold Golden Ale. And it's pretty cool. It was very, very nice. They also make a stout, which I haven't had yet. Next time I go back, I will definitely pick that up. When I was there, and they sold it at one of our liquor stores. And I go, I hadn't seen this before. And they go, yeah, we just started carrying it. And they named this golden ale, a stout, and something else they make. But they were out of the stout. But they said normally they have it in stock. So next time I go back there, I'm going to have to pick some up. But yeah, the ale was pretty darn good. So
yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm just looking to see if I got that in my neighborhood.
Yeah, we
get a couple, European brews. Definitely, obviously, that's not even anymore. But I'll look for that for sure. Try the golden, try the stout if I can. Make a Sullivan's Black and Tan.
Exactly.
Maybe.
Exactly. So yeah. So anyway, so Sean, where are you drinking?
Just our house beer, Miller Lite. Nothing crazy there. Austin, how about you?
So I just want everybody to know I spent 15 minutes trying to find a woodworking related beer. So to the entrance of my neighborhood, there's a convenience gas station that's called Beer Geek. So I mean, there's probably 300 beers, maybe. I mean, it's a lot.
Nice.
I spent some serious time.
It earns its money as a gas station, but it has a serious beer addiction. Like
right, yeah. Who knows if they're even selling real gas? I go
yeah,
there.
Maybe not.
But I, of course, anything that I found that was remotely related, then it was also a beer that I just wasn't really feeling. So I settled on this hazy. Is Chaotic Orbit, which is from Celestial Beer Works out of Dallas, and it's a real solid hazy. It's not too strong, which some of them are. They tend to be a little overpowering, both alcohol and flavor. But this is a real good, smooth hazy.
Cool.
Oh, very
What's the alcohol content on?
I think it's about 6.5%.
Okay.
No, yeah, right there in the middle.
It's a good solid one.
Not too light, not too heavy.
Not bad. Well, cool. Well, Austin, where can folks find you on the interwebs?
Sure. Yeah. I mean, if they want to follow some of the commissions, then you can find me at Waldo Furniture. And then, of course, with the Texas Woodworking Festival, that's at Texas Woodworking Festival. And of course, the website's at TexasWoodworkingFestival.com. The video is TexasWoodworkingFestival.video. And then the school is Austin School of Furniture, both on Instagram and Facebook and .com as well. So all the places, all the things. But yeah, give us a shout out if you're interested in taking some classes. And then, of course, today, April 1st, if you're interested in learning a little bit while you're at the Texas Woodworking Festival, eating tacos and drinking beer, then sign up for that education ticket.
Heck yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Austin. And to our listeners, get out there and get some tickets. Links in the show notes. So, but thanks again. And we look forward to seeing you there at the Texas Woodworking Festival.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody.
Take care.
And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.